IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach, and today with us in the hot seat we have Ishita. Now Ishita asks, "Hi, my question is that how do we know that this is a good thing for me? How do I choose a good choice and the right choice so that my future will be good? Why is there always confusion? Why is it so hard? Why am I always confused?" Okay, now Ishita, I love these questions. There's so many whys, and whys. Now listen, understand one thing, that there is no such thing as a good choice or a bad choice. The worst choice, though, is the choice that you do not make. The worst choice is the choice that you allow the universe or allow somebody else or relegate your power of choosing from. You see, the biggest problem is that throughout our education, while we are growing up, we are never taught how to make decisions. We are always taught geography, history, all those kinds of subjects, but nobody teaches us how to make decisions in our lives. And this is why we grow up confused, because decision making is actually one of the most fundamental things that we all need to be knowing on how to do. So let's first break it down and understand what a decision is. A decision basically is a choice that you have to make between two or more options. Now, how do you evaluate the option is actually where the decision making comes in. Normally, what we do is we say, oh, this is good, this is bad, right? And when something is good or bad, we do not understand that all of these things are actually on a spectrum. That means something is better than the other or worse than the other. So, like you asked me, it is a good thing or a bad thing. You didn't ask better choices. So, what you have to start understanding is that when you look at, say, 5 decisions in front of you, you have to put them in a ranking form. But how do you rank them? You rank them basis certain qualities that they have. And it is those qualities that you need experience to arrive at in order to know what you need to evaluate. So, Ishita, the question is not about knowing if you're going to make a good decision or a bad decision, because if we knew that, imagine we'd all have crystal balls seeing the future. But Ishita, the truth is understanding that we need to know what are the parameters we use to make that evaluation. So, if you are choosing which college to go to, right? Are you choosing it basis the faculty that is there? Are you choosing it basis the kind of people that go there? Are you choosing it basis the nearness to your house? Are you choosing it basis your best friend going there or not? Now you see, the basis of the choice is what will make the decision good for you or bad for you. Remember, a choice is only about something that is good for you. It might be something terrible for somebody else and fantastic for you, which is why you are the person that needs to be making these decisions. Now, once you've understood what are the parameters, then you need to learn how to objectively give these parameters marks or objectively analyze these parameters. One fantastic way of doing this is obviously giving marks to them, like rate things out of 5. If you're choosing between watching a movie, rate things out of 5. Comedy, the kind of actor that are there, however that you would choose the parameters, rate them. The final part is actually making that decision. That is the hardest part. That is that action that needs to be taken, that once I made the decision, this is full and final. One of the most common words or sentences that I hear people using, and this has become a habit, complete habit, is saying, oh, I don't know. I'm confused. So when they're telling me, they would first end up telling me a 5-minute long story, and then they would end that story with saying, but I don't know. Are you mad? You just told me 5 minutes. You have enough information right there to make a good decision. And you ended that story by saying, I don't know. Obviously, that is not correct. So you need to learn how to remove these phrases of doubt in your mind. So I am confused. I don't know. Who am I to be able to judge this? All of these are phrases of doubt. And if I can reach into your head and pull them out and throw them away, you will see just how quickly you start making decisions. Ishita, also remember that while growing up, many a times all our decisions were taken by our parents or people in authority. Many a times we were told, what do you know? How can you decide something like this? You must run it past us. And all these phrases destroy our ability to make decisions, our ability to know the power that we have in making decisions. So To understand or to conclude your question, one is there is no such thing as a good choice or bad choice. It is all dependent on the situation. And a good choice for someone can be a bad choice for somebody else. But more importantly, you will never know if this was a good choice or a bad choice. And like I said, the worst choice is when you don't make a decision. So follow the decision making process, create the parameters you're going to use to evaluate, then learn to evaluate objectively, and finally decide on something. Make a full stop decision saying this and nothing else. And that is how you actually start making changes. Now, understand that you will make mistakes. That is perfectly fine. Learn from these mistakes so that in the future, you don't end up making more of them. All right, Ishita, I hope that answered your question. Please start making decisions. The more decisions you make, the faster you make the decisions, the better you will be at this particular problem. Make it a habit. As soon as something comes up, evaluate, give an objective rating, and then immediately decide. Okay, if you want to be on the next Habit Coach hot seat, check out the link below in the podcast, click on it, and ask me a question. I will try answering it in the next Habit Coach episode. Usually in a podcast, it's me who speaks to you and you who listens. But I've been seeing your comments and it's time. It's me listening to you. Following the overwhelming success of this podcast, the good folks at IVM Podcast Network have decided to come up with a Kannada adaptation of the show. For those who prefer listening to it in that language, do make sure you let your Kannada speaking friends know about this as well. Now, if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am at Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. We have a brand new habit coaching online course, quizzes, videos, and a lot more on the website awesome180.com. So check it out now.
Hello, everybody. It's been another awesome, great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On The Habit Coach, Ashdin talks to author, speaker, business leader, and investor S. Venkatesh. They discuss the power of creativity and their philosophies about it. On The Wire Talks, Siddharth talks to Wendy Doniger about her book An American Girl in India, Letters and Recollections from 1963 to 64. On Cyrus Says It's Cock and Bull, Cyrus, Shreyas, Harsh, and Antariksh discuss the claims of Delhi air pollution, reducing your life by 10 years. On Pulyabazi, Pranay and Saurav debate whether government policies have made the media dependent on advertising. And on The Longest Constitution, Priya analyzes the employer's responsibility in the Bhopal gas tragedy case. We got some exciting news for you. IVM Podcast has just launched its merch line, and you should check it out now. Head over to the IVM Podcast website, that's ivmpodcast.com, and click on the Shop tab to check out our first collection of t-shirts. Also, do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. That really does help. Don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on. And also do remember, you can check out a number of our shows on YouTube. You can go to ivmpodcast.com/YouTube to get a list of the channels that we are keeping active. We also are doing a small listener survey. If you could go to ivmpodcast.com/survey to fill this out, it'll just take a few minutes and it really helps us out. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance, Apne Liye, Apno Ke Liye. Jupiter, a digital banking app. Capgemini, get the future you want. Intel vPro, built for business. And Intel, future but now wonderful with Intel-powered laptops. There's a quick survey to fill out on ivmpodcast.com/survey. It lets us know a little bit more about who's listening to us. And you know what? We're going to do a few prizes. So, we'll do a random drawing of maybe 10 people and we'll send you all some swag. Remember, that's ivmpodcast.com/survey where you can fill out the survey.